So before we get started with this week's episode, I have a couple of very important and very exciting announcements for you. Number one, the podcasting course is coming. The waitlist link is in the show notes. I have been podcasting now for 4 years, 186 plus episodes. And up until summer, so like up until June, there were over 55,000 downloads of the show, which I know to some people is not huge. To me, it's huge. I'm now going to be teaching you how to start and launch your own podcast, whether you're going to DIY or if you want to start out learning how to do it yourself and then eventually outsource any piece of the process. The course will cover all the things. And per usual, in my teaching style, I make it easy as F. I am a self-taught elder millennial when it comes to technology, so it had to be easy for me to get going. So if you know that a podcast is in your future, I highly recommend adding your name to the waitlist. Again, links in the show notes. I'll send you a little something special before enrollment opens up. Announcement number 2, kind of related to announcement number 1, I'm doing private podcast mentorship. So if you know you want to take the podcasting course and you would also like to work privately with me and talk through your podcast and have my private support in launching your show, private podcast coaching and mentorship is now available. Apply at the link in the show notes. And then, of course, you'll get the course as part of your package and you'll have me in your back pocket. Announcement number 3 is the Birth Worker Retreat. So we are quickly approaching January. As of right now, we're about 3.5 months away from the Birth Worker Retreat, of which I am co-hosting with 3 other birth workers. The Birth Worker Retreat is focusing on mind-body business, and it's 3 days in Florida, January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. The link to purchase your tickets and to secure your spot is in the show notes. And then we also have a Black Birth Worker Scholarship, and we will be notifying scholarship applicants within the next month. Announcement number 4, which leads us really nicely into this episode, is the new free training that I have. The Energetic Business Foundation is a free audio training. It's a 3-part training that will help you get crystal freaking clear on what you're here to do in the world. Zoom out, big picture, get clear about your mission so that it's much easier for you to navigate this business journey. If you are like jumping into strategy and trying to figure out what to do next and everything feels like shiny object syndrome and you're bouncing all over the place and it's really tricky to make strategy decisions, sometimes it's because you haven't yet gotten clear on what it is you're here to do. And I find that it's much easier to strategize, and now I'm a sucker for a good strategy. I find it's much easier to have strategy when you are clear with the big picture in mind. The little details become easier. There's a link in the show notes. You enter your name, your email, and then I send you a link to the Google Drive that has the audio trainings. There will also be a portal login link should you prefer to watch on video. Okay, so this week the plan was that the Podcast Curious series would begin on the podcast, that I would be talking about and answering many of your burning questions about starting a podcast through my episodes. And that's coming. As of the time I'm recording this, it's October 11th. A few days ago, shit hit the fan. I'm referring to the situation that's escalated in Israel. I'm referring to the attack by terrorist organizations and the increasing numbers of innocent people who are being harmed. And this is very personal to me, as you know, if you've been listening for a while. My father is from Israel and he came to the United States in the 70s. His whole family is in Israel. So it's hitting home, and I have a lot of feelings about it as somebody with family who, as of right now, is safe, but in a very unfathomable situation. I have a lot of feelings as a mother who is seeing children harmed and put in harm's way on every side. I will preface it by saying that's not what this episode is about, but it feels important to clear the air and share this piece with you before we get into what I decided to talk about today. This is relevant. There's a lot of children in harm's way and who have already been harmed in ways that I will not speak of right now. I'm a mother and I'm a human. And I don't believe that most of the government officials and people who are in very powerful positions have people's best interest at heart. So what I'm going to share may be somewhat controversial. And I'm not yet comfortable with sharing all the things behind it, but I will share this piece. There's a lot of people fighting. There's so much hate on both sides, really. And there's very little compassion for humans and for human life. And what I was thinking about last night and this morning is there's a lot of people arguing specifically around timelines and at what point did they start the clock for who's fighting who and who has rights over certain land. And there's a lot of other layers, right? This is a nuanced situation of which I am not an expert, I will say that. But what I do feel like is who decided that we own Earth? Who decided that any one person or group of people own individual sections of Earth? Who started drawing lines and decided who owns this piece, who owns that piece, who controls other individuals? Who owns human beings? Who controls human beings? Who owns Earth? When did we forget as humans that we are stewards of Earth? I know, and it seems in today's age and in light of everything that's going on, it seems like a radical concept. And I had a dear friend comment on my post, like, and she said it with love, you're talking about going back to thousands and thousands of years ago. And she wrote, and I'm here for it. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I feel like at some point, humans really got it wrong. Who says we own other people? Who says we have to own Earth? Now let's start to move into that. That was kind of the piece I wanted to share is I never think that hurting other humans is the answer. I never think that hurting other individuals is a solution. And also, I'm starting to go back to feeling like, why do we feel like we need to own land? Why do we feel like we need to control humans? Right? There's just so many conversations that we could have here, and that's not the point of this, but I wanted to share that piece with you and give you something to imagine for a moment. Our imaginations are very powerful. And I wanted to give you something to imagine and think about, what would that actually be like? What would it be like if we weren't in control of other individuals? What would it be like if we weren't owners of any particular piece of land? What would it look like if we were actually stewards of the land? Now, let's segue into what I want to do and talk about today. What would it look like if you, and I speak to mostly women on the podcast, I'm sure there's others listening, but I tend to attract a lot of women. And women carry some deep-rooted trauma around speaking our truth. And I know for myself, I wasn't always a speaker like this. And these are things I'm going to talk about on the podcast Curious episodes, right? But let's preview it just a little bit. I wasn't always able to talk like this. There was a time when I was so uncomfortable talking and I held so much trauma from expressing myself. I held that trauma in my body. And I know for me, it was partly from lineage, which many women carry that lineage. Or if you believe in past lives or parallel lives, from parallel lives, we have this trauma that sometimes makes it really tricky for us to speak up. Because in the past, our ancestors, for example, they may have been killed for speaking up. And what I want to kind of marry all this conversation and try to bring it all in full circle is like present day, there are people on Earth at the same time as us who cannot speak up depending on where they live and who is controlling how they speak and what they share. Even certain platforms control what's spoken about and what is shared. So what I want to do is scary as F for me, because I haven't done it like this before, as part of my own journey in reclamation of my voice, reclaiming the power that I have to speak on the podcast and in other places, to speak on social media, to speak in person, to speak and share my truth. Part of that for me was healing the trauma that's stored in my throat chakra, or if you want to look at it through a human design perspective, in my throat center. Healing the trauma for me in that space meant clearing the stuff that was sticky, clearing the stuff that made it tricky for me to speak out. And whether or not you're going to be podcasting, this would be a helpful exercise for you to do to help you start to speak and heal the trauma so your body isn't holding it, but then also to help you speak. Because if you're listening to me or you're listening to this, based on the analytics of my podcast host, I know most of my people are in North America. I have a lot of Canadian folks and a lot of people in the United States. There's some places and people that are listening from other countries, but that's the most of my people. And so you probably are in a position that you can speak without fear of being harmed. It's deeper than that for many of us, though, who carry that wound where it wasn't safe for us to do so. So what I'm going to do is offer you an energy healing transmission. You've heard me talk about energy healing on the show before. I use an energy healing modality called expansion principle energy healing technology. I do it remotely, and I will basically take you through a guided meditation specifically to help you heal and clear your throat space, to help you feel safe and comfortable and ready to speak. What this has to do with podcasting, if you're like, what does this all have to do with anything, is if that's something that you're like, oh, I've always wanted to do that, but you feel something stuck, this is the thing. This is the kind of thing that I did a lot of 4+ years ago. And I continue to do it in layers because it's in layers, right? And I continued to heal the things that were holding me back from speaking. And the podcast I didn't just start podcasting just for the sake of podcasting. It has been instrumental in my healing journey to talk and to show up and express things that I was holding on to and I felt like I couldn't for a long time. And whether or not you end up podcasting, I hope that this opens that freedom of expression up to you, no matter where you want to express. If you want to go to local networking meetings and talk to the group, if you want to talk on social media, if you want to talk on YouTube, if you want to be a guest speaker at events, in any space, if you feel like you hold back from speaking your truth, I hope that this opens up that channel for you to be able to express yourself. Now, this part I don't do on video because I just don't. So what we're going to do now is segue into the meditation. Now, caveat, if you're driving, do not do this meditation, please, while you are driving or operating equipment or whatever, right? All you need to do is relax and close your eyes and allow yourself to receive and allow yourself to experience the shifts. And then afterward, my advice is to take it easy, give yourself some space for the day, drink plenty of water, and don't overexert yourself. And this is something that you can come back to and listen to as often as you like. So enjoy. Okay, let's begin by getting into a comfortable position. You can sit if you need to sit, or lie down if you prefer to lie down. We're going to begin by just tuning into your body and relaxing your physical body. To prepare for the meditation, you can close your eyes and flip the switch from the outside in. Relax your jaw. Relax any tension you're holding in your face. Slow your breathing. Become aware of your breath. Relax any tension that you're holding in your fists, in your shoulders. Relax your shoulders gently so they fall away from your ears. Relax any tension in your legs. And now I'm going to bring a golden light of healing energy all the way through your system to prepare you for the deeper level of healing that we'll do in a moment. So in your mind's eye, just imagine that there's this beautiful warm gold light up above your head. We're going to bring it down over the top of your head. It's soft and gentle and warm. We're going to move it down over your forehead, the space between your eyes, and you can feel the gold light moving further down the length of your face. Down over your neck and your upper back, your chest, the length of your shoulders, into your torso and your back, your middle back space, all the way down the length of your arms, and down into your hips and your pelvis. And I'll move it down over your thighs, all the way down to your knees, and then the lower part of your legs, through your feet and your toes, and down into the earth. And take a breath. That felt like a pre-rinse cycle. And now I'm going to ask you to tune in and focus your energy on your throat. Feel this space. Tune into what the feeling is for you. Does it feel tight? Does it feel stuck? Does it feel free-flowing? And breathe into the space. And as you do, you can feel the healing energy moving into your throat space to help you open and clear. And in your mind's eye, however you want to visualize this is perfectly fine. If it feels like we're sweeping debris with a broom, if it feels like we're taking a cloth to the window and cleaning the window so that it's clear. However you want to visualize to help you anchor into the feeling of allowing this warm gold energy to move through your throat space and clean the channel so that energy can free flow through your throat space, energy that wants to be expressed through you. Your message, your purpose, your important work in this world that's ready to be expressed through you, however you choose to express it. We're opening up this space to allow it to come out, to allow it to be shared. And as this energy continues to work in this space, and to heal and open up and allow for free flow, I want you to take a moment, and you can repeat these in your head if you like. You can repeat them out loud, or you can just feel as I'm saying these things, as I'm saying the following statements. It's safe to speak my truth. I am safe. It's important for me to move my work forward, my mission forward in the world. When I speak my truth, it helps the collective. It helps my community. When I speak my truth, it lets others know that it's safe too. My voice is needed. When I express my truth, I'm emitting a love frequency and a healing frequency that can be felt all over the world. When I speak and express and share my truth and emit this frequency, my people all over the world can feel it. They can tune in and they can find me. We find each other. I'm safe. It's safe to speak. It's safe to share. It's safe to express. Take a breath. Allow the energy to continue working. another breath and anchor it in. Whenever you're ready, you can come back, you can open your eyes. And again, be gentle with yourself today. You can come back and revisit this meditation as often as you like and continue to heal layer upon layer upon layer so that your soul can express more and more and more each time. Drink plenty of water and nourish yourself today. Bookmark this if you want to revisit at a later time, and I hope you enjoyed.